Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Josie's Point of View, where we focus on human interest stories from the Carolinas and beyond. Today it's Tuesday and it's June the 28th, 2022. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to my channel, I'd like to extend to you a warm welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you find the information here to be informative. And if you're a returning viewer, by all means, thank you for coming back. You know, I always say the tide changes so frequently here on these YouTube streets. So you always have to acknowledge where your support comes from. And I want you to know, I sincerely thank you for your support. Feel free to like and to share this video. And don't forget to subscribe. And our story today takes us to Fort Bragg here in North Carolina. Take a look at the headline. And it reads, The Tragic Death of a Fort Bragg Paratrooper. I'll provide you with a summary here, and as always, I'll place links to a few of the full articles in the description box. This story was breaking news on Monday of last week, and it specifically states that a paratrooper from Fort Bragg was killed on Interstate 95 en route to Camp Lejeune. At that time, the circumstances surrounding the soldier's death was very confusing, but he was also not identified by name. And because I always want to represent a deceased soldier in the most respectful manner, the most positive manner, and providing the most accurate information available, I waited for a few days until more information was released to the public. And for this video, I may struggle with the details because it's hard to share. But this is what we know about the case. So before we begin to discuss the tragic events, let's take a few minutes to learn about the military life of the fallen soldier. He's 28-year-old Army Sergeant Michael Hegan-Daniel. He has a hyphenated name, Hegan-Daniel, hometown San Antonio, Texas, and a paratrooper assigned to the 5th Battalion, 1st Special Warfare Training Group, where he was a student. He enlisted in the Army in 2017, and after completing his basic training and his military occupation specialty course, or his MOS, he was assigned as an infantryman. It was not specifically stated in any of the published report, and it's unclear whether Fort Bragg was his only military assignment. But I do know Sergeant Hegan-Daniel had at least one combat-related tour. Nonetheless, he worked as an infantryman for the 82nd Airborne Division until he was selected for attendance at the Special Operations Psychological Ops Assessment and Selection and the Psychological Operation Qualification course, which he completed on June the 18th, just a few days prior to his death. Now, I don't need to tell you that he was a highly decorated military soldier. You could look at his chest, and you can see that for yourself. He may have had prior military service, but that was not stated. But in the few years he had been with the Army this time, he had accomplished a great deal, and it shows. His awards and decoration include the Combat Infantry Badge, the Army Commendation Medal, Army Achievement Medal, Army Service Medal, Afghanistan Campaign Medal with Campaign Star, Global War on Terrorism Medal, and his parachute badge. Sergeant Hegan-Daniel was married, and he was the father of a young son. And this is what has been reported on this case. Now, the incident took place early in the morning on June the 18th, which was Sunday morning. And according to reports, Sergeant Hegan-Daniel was participating in training exercise when he became ill, and that could have happened on Saturday. Reports say he was initially transported to Womack Army Medical Center, which is the hospital on Fort Bragg. And whatever was going on with this young paratrooper was severe enough that it was not going to be a quick in and out visit. He needed to be hospitalized. And the decision was made. Apparently there was a bed shortage at Womack. So the decision was made to transport him to another military facility, and the nearest being Navy Hospital at Camp Lejeune, where he would be able to get the best possible care based on his medical diagnosis. And this is where the sequence of events become very confusing, because the young paratrooper never made it to that destination. In fact, his life ended in a series of shocking and unfortunate events along that busy highway. And please forgive me if I seem to struggle with the details, because they are a bit difficult for me to articulate. But reports say Sergeant Hegan-Daniel was being transported to Camp Lejeune via ambulance. Now, in the North Carolina State Troopers report, that says there were 2 EMS personnel in the vehicle, as well as an Army sergeant escorting Hegan-Daniel to the hospital. So you had 2 EMS people up front, and in the back you had Hegan-Daniel as well as his military escort. Now, as they were traveling along Interstate 40, reports say some type of struggle ensued in the back of this ambulance, and for reasons that are unclear, the driver pulled to the shoulder of the interstate and came to a stop. And that's when the report says that Hegan-Daniel opened the ambulance door and ran across the busy highway towards Interstate 117. One newspaper article said he escaped from the ambulance because of reasons that were directly related to his medical condition, and he ran away. And unfortunately, Hegan-Daniel was hit by an oncoming vehicle on Interstate 117, and despite the efforts of the first responders to save his life, his injuries were fatal, and Sergeant Hegan-Daniel was pronounced dead at the scene, and that took place around 4 a.m. This all seemed like such a nightmare. Things like this are not supposed to happen in real life, and definitely not to members of our armed forces at home. There's so many questions. Just what was going on in the back of that ambulance? And why did that ambulance driver stop on the side of the road? Why did the driver or someone in that vehicle not call and ask for assistance? It appears they were traveling at night and it's dark on that interstate. There are no lights. The vehicle provides the only light. It's very dark out there. Why did the driver not call for a state trooper to assist? Why was the ambulance door not locked? And if it was locked, why was it open? I just don't get it. But the truth lies in the details, and I can tell you there's a lot more to the story that has not yet been told. I simply don't believe things happen exactly as they're telling us. And Fort Bragg, you're going to have some explaining to do as well, because people want to know just what was going on at Womack Army Hospital that you had to send this soldier to Camp Lejeune in the first place. Soldiers are the top priority. How come you couldn't find him a bed? It is apparent that Sergeant Hegan-Daniel must have been experiencing some type of mental episode. Just what precipitated this episode? He had just completed a special ops psych course. What happened at the end of that training? Exactly what caused him to have to go to the ER in the first place? And there's no doubt if this paratrooper had not been sent to Camp Lejeune, he would probably still be alive today, and I have to say allegedly. Could the death have been prevented? I'm sure these are some questions that will be addressed as the Army conducts its own death investigation. Needless to say, family and friends are devastated. They're all in a state of shock. This is just so unbelievable. And it's not just that the soldier died, but it's the way he died. And the question will continue to be, could this death have been avoided? The commander of the 1st Special Warfare Training Group did issue a statement in which he extended words of condolences to the family of the deceased and spoke about how good of a soldier he was, his success in the Special Operations Psych course, which he had completed just a few days prior to his death, and his impact on cadre as well as on other students. But you know, none of this is going to be a comfort to the grieving spouse, the grieving wife, and their young son. None of this is going to bring him back. One thing is certain, within the next few days, the next few weeks, and the next few months, the leadership will have to address a lot of questions pertaining to this case. But you know, it's all such sad news, such shocking news, and it's kind of hard to wrap your fingers around it. But we send our deepest condolences to the family and to friends, wherever you might be. We're so very sorry for your loss. I searched for funeral plans, but at the time of this video, no information was available. But as many continue to search for answers to this very troubling situation, we have to admit that another paratrooper has completed his journey. So Sergeant Michael Hegan-Daniel, your mission is now complete. So rest well, my friend, and thank you for your service. And that's all I have for you right now. Feel free to leave me a comment below and let me know what you think about this video. And by all means, feel free to like it and to share it. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to subscribe to my channel by clicking on that red subscribe button. It's at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And if you click on the bell that looks just like this one, that's the notification bell. If you click on that notification bell, you'll be the first to know whenever a new video is uploaded. I thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.